Top 5 greatest fighters of all time. This list is gonna be one of the most controversial lists that I've ever done. Everybody has the same top 5. This is the real top 5 list. So let's get through with it. Number 5, this will shock a lot of people. Demetrius Johnson. I know you guys think he should be higher. He is the best flyweight of all time, no doubt. His resume speaks for itself. The amount of title defenses: Joseph Benavidez, John Dodson, Henry Cejudo, Tim Elliott, and Adriano Moraes right now in ONE FC. These are huge wins. But why you're only putting him number 5, man? Demetrius is at least top 3, Rafi. Wrong, I disagree. The reason why he's only number 5 because the names that I told you guys, I mean, they're big names in the flyweight division. Benavidez, Dodson, Henry Cejudo. Henry Cejudo, he even lost a rematch. The flyweight division was never stacked. There's a reason why Dana wanted to stop this division, wanted to terminate this division and move on. This is why he said, TJ Dillashaw, go fight Henry Cejudo, take the belt, we gonna end the division. Cejudo saved the division. This is my reasoning of putting Demetrius Johnson only at number 5. Because, I mean, Joseph Benavidez is his best win. John Dodson, young Henry Cejudo, and he lost him in a rematch. I don't know if I would put him over the other 4 I have. The other 4 have way better resume in my opinion, which is why Demetrius Johnson is only getting number 5. Number 4, Daniel Cormier. I see a lot of these lists. Daniel, not only he's not number 5, but they don't got DC not even in top 10. I'm like, what are you thinking? Just because he lost to Jon Jones, who everyone considers number 1, one of the greatest of all times, that's why you don't rate him highly? I mean, come on, man. Let's talk about his resume and why am I having him over Demetrius Johnson. He has wins over Bigfoot Silva, Josh Barnett, Frank Mir, Roy Nelson, Ann Henderson, Anthony Johnson twice, submission, Alexander Gustafsson, Anderson Silva, Volkan Ozdemir, Derek Lewis, Stipe Miocic, KO. Double champion, defended both titles. Now you tell me, double champion with all these names that I told you, an all-time great like Stipe Miocic, people consider him as the greatest heavyweight. You gotta give DC his respect. If Jon Jones wasn't here, he would have been the greatest. His losses to Stipe Miocic, that was old DC, man. Even when DC came to MMA, transitioned, he was already, you know, aging a little bit because, you know, don't forget that he was an Olympic wrestler, then transitioned to MMA and done all this great stuff. So her last 2 losses against Stipe, to be honest, I don't really count it. That was all DC. 41-year-old DC, 42-year-old. I mean, come on, let's be honest here. His prime version DC, that's number 4 in his division, man. That's number 4, man. That's number 4. We gotta give his respect. If Jon Jones wasn't there, DC would have been number 1 in everyone's division. That's how good he was. If Jon Jones wasn't alive, didn't exist, he would have been number 1 on this division. So, yeah. At number 3, we got none other but Canadian gangster, Georges St-Pierre. Now, this one, I think a lot of people agree with it. People have him at 2, some people have him at 3, but GSP is top 3. That's for sure, you know. I don't think anyone disagrees with Georges St-Pierre at number 3. If you do, I mean, tell me. I don't know if anyone disagrees with GSP being top 3. I think we can all agree. He has 2 losses, avenged both of them. He got good wins like Michael Bisping, middleweight champion. Johnny Hendricks. I mean, Johnny Hendricks, when USADA wasn't there, he was another beast. Nick Diaz, Carlos Condit, Jake Shields, Josh Koscheck, Dan Hardy, BJ Penn, that's an all-time win, BJ Penn. Matt Serra, I mean, that's not a great win. He shouldn't have lost to Matt Serra, but hey, at least he avenged it and he done it in a very good fashion. So Matt Hughes, he also beat Matt Hughes twice, which is also considered an all-time win. All-time win is like all-time fighters, you know, that are on the all-time list, like top 15 or top 30. Matt Hughes is considered an all-time win. He's very good. So beat Matt Hughes twice, avenging all his losses. BJ Penn, come on. That's a very good career, double champion. He also wanted to come back to the UFC lightweight division and fight Khabib. Dana didn't allow it. Or, you know, we probably would have seen the first triple champion. I think he might have beat Khabib. You never know. I mean, against Khabib, you never know who would have won that fight. If Dana allowed it, that would have been awesome. That would have been great. Number 2, the biggest shocker of this whole list, Jon Jones. Yes, I know right now you want to punch the screen. You want to unsubscribe if you're subscribed to me. But listen, Jon Jones is one of the greatest, and a lot of you consider him as the greatest. Now, the reason why I have him at 2, I will explain. First reason is too many close fights. Alexander Gustafsson, he's shown weaknesses. Thiago Santos, he barely beat a one knee. Thiago Santos, 48-47. Dominic Reyes, most people consider that he lost that fight. They scored it to 3 to Dominic Reyes, and I feel like that's the right call. Everyone knows Dominic Reyes won that fight. These are too many close fights that the number 1 of my list didn't have. Now, I know he had a lot of title defenses, which is why, you know, if you got that many fights, you're gonna have close fights. But his last 2 fights in light heavyweight, Dominic Reyes and Thiago Santos, that's kind of a big stain on his division, dominance-wise. And the second reason is even the major reason, you know. We understand why he had too many close fights, because, you know, his title defenses speak for itself. He defended it how many times? How many times did he win the belt? That speaks for itself, right? But the biggest problem is the steroids. Jon Jones being popped. This is the biggest reason on why he's done number 1, on why I should put him number 2. Because he got caught multiple times, not once, multiple times. People like Chael Sonnen, when they fought him, they said, Chael Sonnen in an interview, he said, I had more juice than Tropicana, and when I grabbed Jon Jones, I knew he's on steroids. I was like, yes. He said, we know, athletes know whenever they grapple or whenever they fight each other, they know if you're natural or no. He said he was definitely on something. And that time he didn't pop. So if he popped multiple times, imagine the times that he didn't get caught. You know, a lot of people bypassed the system. So imagine Jon Jones, how many times was he actually on the stuff? Probably most of his career. You never know. He probably was on something most of his career, which is why maybe against Reyes and Santos the fights were close. You know, you never know. As soon as he was out of his system, he had close fights. So we can't say anything, to be honest. We don't have proof, but one thing we know, he did pop, and that's a huge stain on number 1. I can't put you with this many question marks on your name. Number 1. Now, this is going to be the most controversial because many of you guys don't even have him in top 5. Khabib Nurmagomedov. Don't click off the video. Khabib Nurmagomedov was the most dominant fighter in the UFC. Never bled, only lost 2 rounds. And the round against Gaethje, I feel like he won that round. I wanted so bad Gaethje to win against him because I didn't like Khabib. He was too dominant. He was beating all our favorite fighters. That's the reason you don't put him in top 5. His father passed away is the only reason he left. Now he left. Okay, you say, oh, he ducked the whole division. You look at the rankings right now. Dustin Poirier, Gaethje, people that he dominated are still on top of the division. It's not like he was scared of the new gen of lightweights. Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier are still on top. They're beating the new gen. They're beating Benoit Saint-Denis. They're beating Rafael Fiziev. They're beating all this new gen guys. It's not like Khabib ran and ducked. He dominated these people that Islam Makhachev, his prodigy, couldn't dominate Dustin Poirier like how he did it. Khabib was different. McGregor, Edson Barboza, Michael Johnson, Alai Quinta, Rafael Dos Anjos, Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier. These are very good wins. These are very good wins. It's better wins than Demetrius Johnson. Everybody says, oh, look at the title defenses. I mean, whose resume do you prefer? Demetrius Johnson or Khabib Nurmagomedov? Who has he beat someone like McGregor, Dustin Poirier, Rafael Dos Anjos, Justin Gaethje? I mean, his best win is Henry Cejudo, and Cejudo beat him back. So, what are we doing here? Come on, man. And Jon Jones, I'm telling you, I can't have someone at number 1 with not only that many close fights, but the major reason is the steroids. So, Khabib Nurmagomedov is my number 1. If his dad didn't pass away, I'm pretty sure if he stuck around, he would have beat the likes of Benoit Saint-Denis. He would out-wrestle Fiziev. Come on, Fiziev was having close fight against Gamrot. Like, you guys are telling me Khabib wouldn't have beat Gamrot, the same Gamrot that lost to Dan Hooker. As Arman Tsarukyan fan, I think Arman beats Islam. But Khabib, there is no way, because Khabib's pressure is different. If Arman struggled against Gamrot. Khabib's pressure would have been way different for Arman, and he would have beat Arman too. Arman's my favorite fighter, but we have to admit, Islam doesn't have the pressure Khabib has. Islam strikes with people technically. He wants to keep it technical. Khabib doesn't. Khabib suffocates you, and his pressure would have been too much for Arman. The only thing on his resume, the only question is he left too early because his dad passed away. Other than that, there's no questions on Khabib Nurmagomedov. Khabib is the greatest fighter of all time. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. I know most of you guys are right now fuming and pissed at me, so comment down below. That's it for today's video, and peace.